Ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, non-binary pals, and the technicolor rainbow in between, this is Modular Media Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Chris Boingo, Ryder Gaston, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner.
The Vacuuminator. And Chris, do you know what today is?
Well, I know it's Thursday, and you know what that means.
Yeah, it's Thursday, March 11th. And 1 year ago today exactly was the final Dynamite of the pre-COVID era.
Oof.
Yeah, very, very crazy to think about. I was just kind of thinking about that today because I saw that online and also on my Instagram, cheap plug, instagram.com/the_vacuuminator. I posted a Throwback Thursday photo of the last time I was in my city's major park, which was in fall of 2019. I really genuinely miss that place. So, folks, for those of you out there listening, I know some of you don't believe this thing is real, but for those of us who actually acknowledge it, please keep wearing your mask, get in line for a vaccine, keep your distance as best you can, stay in when you have the option, and hopefully I won't say that again in another year.
Yep, don't be a COVIDiot.
Keep your distance as best you can.
But, other than that, we have some of the wrestling to talk about.
We have a lot of wrestling to talk about. It was a big old wrestle week because we had ourselves a pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view.
Yeah.
A pretty damn good one, if I do say so.
Mm, mm. But before that, we had a bit of an announcement from Jazzwares, or more specifically, Jeremy Padower and or various members of the AEW roster, which is the official lineup for. And yes, I knocked my headphones out. Don't worry, I'm putting them back in.
What? What?
For
You said what?
shut up. AEW Unrivaled Collection Series 6, and it is going to be first timers in the liners, Hikaru Shida and Jake Hager, as well as new figures of Maxwell Jacob Friedman, Chris Jericho, Penta El Zero Miedo, and Ray Phoenix. This is the most heavy redo wave so far of the line, and I think that's because they're putting budget back for Unmatched Series 1. However, Hikaru Shida finally in the line, confirmed, it's happening. I'm so excited, and Jake Hager, you can come too. I might as well complete the inner circle.
Yeah. I mean, he is one of the last people of the inner circle to get a figure, isn't he?
Yeah, because Sammy, Santana, and Ortiz are in wave 4, and Jericho was technically the first figure of the line.
And we already also, if we're keeping continuity for how we're talking about this, we also have an MJF.
Yeah.
We just don't have a Wardlow.
Poor Wardlow. Our beautiful, giant, hairy, muscly boy. He doesn't.
In 2 years' time, he's going to be AEW's Batista.
God, I hope so. I love Wardlow so much. He seems like such a damn nice guy in everything I've seen of him.
I mean, everyone in AEW, give or take a few opinions and characters, seem like nice people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But no, this is a solid lineup. Like I said, I'm most excited about Hikaru Shida. However, I am slightly interested in new additions of the Lucha Bros because I missed them in Series 2. Just did not have the budget for them the first couple times pre-orders went up, and they ended up selling out both times before I did have the budget. So hopefully I can catch them this time around.
Have they said what kind of gear they're having? If they're like matching?
No, it's just announcements of who's going to be in the wave.
Okay.
But we already have their white gear, and that's the gear they've been. That was the gear in Series 2. That's primarily what they've been wearing in AEW. The only other gear I can remember them wearing is the red gear they've been wearing recently. So I would not be surprised if it's that.
The Neo Death Triangle gear.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. But speaking of people we're probably going to get figures of somewhere down the line, we have a new official complete signee for All Elite Wrestling. Captain Sean Dean is All Elite, and he's a former Marine who was training in the Nightmare Factory, wasn't he?
Yeah. I believe he trained there. However, he's not an official member of the Nightmare family, as far as I know.
I mean, it's same. It's the same. It's the same. There's I can't think of any other comparison. But yeah, no, he's not a member of Nightmare Family, but he was trained in the Nightmare Factory.
Yeah. And he's been doing a good bit of stuff on BTE. He's been all over the place on Dark. That's why he got signed, is that he has busted his ass on Dark the entire COVID era. So Tony Khan was really impressed with him and went, oh, we have a little extra budget. Here, have a contract.
Yeah. But it's a similar kind of position as Lee Johnson in terms of like really busted their ass on Dark, getting the contract, a lot of potential and a lot of future.
Definitely. And hopefully we see some cool things from that guy down the line. But as far as things we've already seen...
Isn't he in a tag team with another dude that's on AEW still?
Potentially, probably, maybe, I'm not sure.
Okay.
As I was saying, shall we get on to the thing?
So real quick, we had a big past pay-per-view for All Elite Wrestling this past weekend, and it was really damn good.
It was mostly good. There's some middling things here and there. There's a big thing that a lot of people had a problem with. But we'll talk about all those things.
I would say this: if 0.1% of a thing is bad, 99% of it's good. So,
I would say it's a very solid pay-per-view going into it. General thoughts. It's a very solid pay-per-view. However, it does not top last year's Revolution.
No,
and
I don't.
I know some people would say you shouldn't have expected it to, but myself and a lot of others did, just because of the way it was being hyped up.
It is not the best AEW pay-per-view, but it's not like all of a sudden we're getting a stinker.
Yeah, definitely. I would say the things that are wrong with this show, and potentially also Dynamite, just to spoil some opinions, are missteps rather than major fumbles or facepalms.
Yeah. And it's also some missteps that I can see where they're going with things.
Yeah. But to go ahead and get into it, we had the pre-show match, which was scheduled to be a tag team match of Thunder Rosa and Riho versus Dr. Britt Baker and Reba, but
not Rebel.
They did an injury angle where Reba was going, "Oh, I'm hurt. Here's a doctor's note. I can't be in the match." And the note was literally in Britt Baker's handwriting, was the joke. So when they come out, there's this whole big thing of like, "Oh, who's Reba's replacement? Who's it gonna be? I wonder." And I was literally just sitting there going like, "It's gonna be Abaddon. It's probably gonna be Abaddon." But no, it was the fired idol Maki Itoh making her AEW US debut, and oh boy, did the two of us mark out watching this.
The whole world marked out watching this.
Mm-hmm.
Maki Itoh immediately felt at place in AEW. Immediately, like, everything kind of coalesced as her character. Everybody kind of immediately understood who she was.
Mm-hmm.
She got her bit,
especially because she did the idol singing thing, but like immediately knocked out her earpiece and had to try and put it back in as she kept going. Like, that's so, like, it's a botch, but it's so in character.
It's a very Maki move. Notice that Dynamite, they didn't give her a chance to do that again. They gave her a full-on pair of headphones.
But yeah. This was a very solid match, just kind of a showcase for all four performers. Technically 5, counting Reba. But ultimately, it did end with Britt pinning Thunder after an assist from Reba, continuing on their feud, which will continue on into Dynamite as well.
And we'll continue on to next week. Ooh boy. Ooh boy.
Mm-hmm.
But the first match of the pay-per-view itself in total and proper was MJF and Le Champion Chris Jericho going up for the tag titles against the Young Bucks. And this was a solid match. It wasn't a Bucks classic, but it's a good Bucks B movie.
Mm-hmm. Like, it was definitely a great showcase for all four guys involved, but it never felt like this is something new, this is something amazing that I'm only going to get to see this one time. It was like, if these guys were doing a company that had monthly pay-per-views, I would expect them to bust out this match like once every 6 months on TV and then kick it up a notch from here for a pay-per-view once every 6 months.
Yeah, but it was good. There were some interesting things. The when one of the Bucks, I can't remember who, did the bounce for the Meltzer driver into Walls of Jericho.
Hmm. There was also a great shot, a great attempt at a Judas effect that got knocked into Wardlow instead, which was very fun and clever. Some great heel emoting, like chicken shit heel emoting from MJF in this match too. Like that kick out where he just has this perfect look of disbelief that it was free, and the final super kick that he takes where he's just got drool drizzling all down his face and it's a proper slobber knocker.
Oh,
Oh,
that
so good.
when he was doing that, and like Excalibur or Tony just noticed he's actually drooling. Jr. Say the line. It's just great. But the Bucks did win. They do retain their belts, and that does lead into an angle for Dynamite, where Jericho basically goes, "The inner circle is kind of adrift right now. We need to reevaluate our strategy with a war council." So that's set up later.
Hmm.
The best way to describe this match is that they were playing the hits. They're good
Yeah,
hits, they're good songs, but like they were playing them.
yeah. This is like an insult, but it's I don't mean it that way. It's very much the WWE style of tag match where it opens the show and they do all the stuff you want to see to get you perfectly primed for the rest of the show.
But considering the feud and considering who's in that's kind of what this was designed to be.
Hmm.
Like they added heat, but it wasn't necessarily like a blood feud. It was more of like a fuck you feud.
Hmm. Definitely. But after that, we had the Tag Team Casino Battle Royal for a shot at the number one contendership to the AEW tag titles. So as I said when this was announced a Dynamite or two ago, I went into this thinking like, okay, I think this is going to be fun, but I'm annoyed that we're ignoring the ranking system once again to have a battle royal for the number one contendership. That being said, this was a pretty fun match. It was exactly what you expect a Royal Rumble style tag team match to be. It was very, very fun. Got in a lot of great little character bits, especially for the Nightmare family. There was some cool stuff, and Dark Order had some fun bits as well.
Oh yeah, I especially love the dynamic Dark Order had the entire match because three different teams, all the same faction. It doesn't matter. They're all Dark Order. They were like, okay, cool. We're just all working together.
Hmm.
Fuck being in different tag teams. We're all Dark Order, and that was a really fun dynamic to see played out. Private Party being heels and healing it up. That was fun. Bear Country just fucking. I think I said it. I think I said it as like this is AEW's heavy machinery.
Yeah, I can see that.
Big beefy technical wrestlers that can do a lot of great slam shit, you know?
Definitely.
Uh,
But ultimately, the battle royal ends with Death Triangle getting the number one shot after Ray Phoenix eliminates Jungle Boy.
okay, we need a Ray Phoenix Jungle Boy singles feud, but also I love the final four, how the final four played out in this whole match, going from Jungle Boy, John Silver, and the two members of that triangle that was in the match, Ray Phoenix and Pac.
Yeah, because we were literally sitting there going like, oh my god, it's John Silver's time. John Silver's gonna win, and then immediately he just gets dumped out. We screamed in agony.
We screamed in agony, but then we also go like, "Fuck is Jungle Boy gonna do? Holy shit!" Ramps
Mm-hmm.
up the tension. It's great. Ray Phoenix and Pac are like right now. They're some of the best things going on in AEW right now.
Yeah. Um, not my picks, but definitely the right time to pull the trigger on them. So I'm glad they won.
Especially with some of the things that we got in this week's Dynamite, but we'll get to that. But we do go backstage to kind of plant more seeds to the eventual Hall of Fame level signee that AEW has recently acquired. Dasha goes to Paul White, the man formerly known as the Big Show, and asks, "Hey, can you tell us who it is? If you can't can you give us a hint?" And he was like, "Yeah, I can give you a hint. This person's known for a really good work rate." And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
because
And
that definitely
I
eliminates several people.
that's probably true, but like I heard that and I immediately was like, oh great, I'm shit at judging work rate, so I still have no idea who it is.
Well, I mean, it's not going to be Scott Steiner.
That's fair.
It
But
ain't going
like
to be Hulk Hogan.
who's realistically expecting Scott Steiner or Hulk Hogan?
No,
Hulk Hogan is banned from AEW.
I,
Literally, Tony Khan put out the
oh yeah, I
decree.
know, but Scott Steiner, he isn't, and he's also like really well known, but he's also very much a loose cannon.
Yeah. Scott Steiner on Dynamite saying, give me that fucking mic. That would be a moment.
Oh
Um,
boy, but no, this is just a cool little segment. Hints at the future thing. That's it.
mhm. But then we go back to the ring for Ryo Mizunami versus Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's World Championship. So I hate to be the asshole, but I genuinely was very cold on this match. Like I just could not get into it because I think this had the same kind of problem the tag match had of they're just playing the hits. And like on the one hand, it's a newer competitor. You kind of want to do that to get people used to them, but like, didn't we just do that week on Dynamite? Shouldn't they be like trying to do something new or a little more interesting? This felt like the same match Mizunami had on Dynamite that week, but just with Sheeta in the place of Nyla Rose
True, but
and a different finish, obviously.
yeah, the different finish. But there's also like I wouldn't say. Okay, real quick, how would you grade it then?
I'd say I would give that match like a 3.5 or a 4 star. So this would probably be about the same.
It's still a good match. You're saying it's just you wish that you saw some more innovation kind of stuff, something new.
Definitely,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I was just going like I was fine with the match. I liked it because also you got to think how many American people are completely used to Joshi style matches. Playing some of the hits kind of gets them more integrated into Joshi style wrestling, similar to Riho and Maki Itoh doing Joshi stuff in the buy-in. Because for as much as we liked all the Joshi stuff in the Eliminator tournament, we're wrestling fans and we're able to like accept different tropes in
Mhm.
wrestling's a lot easier. A
And
box
like
hit,
especially we're wrestling fans who like Joshi. Joshi is a bit of an acquired taste.
yeah, because it's like lucha libre, but with the gravity turned off
Mm-hmm.
because they're tiny and they can fling themselves everywhere and they can do a bunch of shit like that. And so there's bits of that, and there's also bits of just like they're tiny, so they know that they can throw themselves at each other and make the strikes sound really hard
Yeah,
and not hurt each other.
it's fair.
So, but like playing the hits to the lowest common denominator audience kind of gets them integrated. It's like for me trying to throw you in the deep end with one of my weird bands. No, I give you one of their pop hits first, and then go like, okay, now you can get into the deeper end.
Mm. It's fair. It's
I mean,
fair.
that was my kind of thought behind it because yeah, I do agree they did kind of play some of the hits, but I like the hits.
Yeah. But ultimately, this match ends with Shida retaining by pinning Mizunami after a whole bunch of Tamashis. And then after the match, there's a bit of a show of respect right before Nyla Rose comes out and attacks, and is shortly joined by Britt Baker and Maki Itoh. And then Thunder Rosa makes the save, and we get a big old like standoff of good ladies versus bad ladies. Oh, isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Look at all this story. Look at all this story we have now. Huh? Bash on us now, wrestling critics.
They'll still do it.
Yeah, they did still do it.
But no, I'm excited for all the story possibilities in that, especially because Maki Itoh is fucking. Maki Itoh is a weird ass character, and being a weird ass character makes all the feuds 10 times more interesting.
Mhm. She is precious and wonderful and literally Deadpool if Deadpool was a demented schoolgirl, and I
So
would like to just
Gwenpool.
exist in the same room as her.
So Gwenpool.
No, because Gwenpool's not a demented schoolgirl. Gwenpool is a lazy millennial comic book fangirl.
So Lady
Different.
Deadpool.
Probably, kind of, yeah. I need to read more actual Deadpool. I've read more Gwenpool than I have Deadpool. That tells you the kind of guy I am.
That's weird. Yeah, yeah. Need to get on that sexy Deadpool train. It's also sad the recent Deadpool run ended. It's not going on anymore.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotta get gotta get him folded into the Hickman verse properly.
I love that,
Hopefully.
but also like that'd be fucking weird and hilarious. I don't know how to do it, but I do know one thing that we got folded into. Orange Cassidy got folded. That's the segue. We have Miro and Kip Sabian versus Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy. This was like, I don't want to say build as the end of their blood feud, but this was very much like we're gonna beat your fucking ass, Chuck and Orange Cassidy. We're gonna beat your ass, and beat their ass they did, because goddamn, this was painful.
Yeah, Ollie Davis called it right. This is more of an angle than it is a match because it's just like, oh yeah, pre-match interview, fuck that. We're just dragging you out to the ring and then beating the shit out of you.
Oh, and it was great because they laid Orange Cassidy out. He's backstage for a while, and Miro and Kip drag Chuck Taylor out to the ring. And Miro grabs the mic and says, "Hey Chuck, this can all end. Just do what I say, and everything will be all right. Okay? I just want what's best for you." And so he puts the mic in front of Chuck Taylor, and Chuck, badass babyface, ring the damn bell.
Uh-huh.
And then Miro proceeded to whip his ass.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Orange Cassidy does come in, bust out some offense, but in the end, Miro basically gets Kip distracted because he accidentally hurts Penelope Ford, and seeing the whole situation, he goes like, "All right, guess I'm just winning this by myself." Then puts Chuck Taylor in the game over, and just wins.
Uh-huh.
God damn.
Interesting bit of friction, teasing a possible breakup, making Miro look super dominant. It's everything that people who aren't satisfied with the feud have been wanting.
Yeah. And hopefully the next match is going to be a culmination of all these little bits and pieces and bring Miro into what we know him to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because we
Like,
did get a hint at another match in Dynamite.
yeah, and I kind of hope, honestly, after this feud is done, because it feels like the thing that has been set up in Dynamite should be like the end of that feud proper. I think the next thing Miro should do is go for the TNT title.
Ooh,
Like
that'd
I
be
would have
fun.
loved to see him versus Darby.
I also think this match and the next match is being used to kind of break Miro and Kip apart,
Yeah.
because it seems like Miro's kind of seeing Kip as like dead weight in a sense. And I hate to say this about Kip because he does some great stuff, but for the Miro character, he kind of is.
Hmm. Kip was a good warm up for Miro in AEW, but now it's time for Miro to spread his wings and fly like a majestic baby bird.
Majestic Hawk.
Yeah. But after that, we got the interview segment where Jericho and MJF announced the Inner Circle War Council for Wednesday's Dynamites, and then we went on to the next film. So just go ahead and take us away with that.
Next, we have the big money match between Matt Hardy and Hangman Adam Page, and this was a pretty above par Matt Hardy match.
Yeah, this was a solid mid-card match. It wasn't amazing, didn't blow me away, but it had some good workmanship all the way through it. Very, very, very good, solid stuff, and a great finishing angle.
Yeah, because throughout the match, a variety of things happen, but eventually, Hangman Adam Page is on the apron. He's going for the buckshot. He's trying to get it, and Matt Hardy just knocks him off the apron. But who's behind Hangman Adam Page? But the boys.
The Dark Order, they catch him in a trust fall.
They literally have his back.
Mm-hmm.
They bring him back up. He gets the buckshot lariat completed. 1, 2, 3. Big money Matt ain't so big money anymore.
Mm-hmm. Now we're moving into Stonkman Adam Page.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
That's what I was half predicting going into this match. I was like, they're just gonna do the Cameron Grimes money gimmick with him, aren't they?
No, but they did something 10 times more wholesome, and it's great.
Yeah. But after that match, we moved on to the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes with Arn Anderson versus Penta El Zero Miedo versus the Murderhawk Monster, Lance Archer with Jake Roberts versus Scorpio Sky versus Platinum Max Caster versus a mystery competitor in the face of the Revolution ladder match for a #1 contendership for the TNT Championship.
The Sonic on a ladder match.
Yeah. Literal brass ring being suspended above the wrestling ring.
And everybody immediately
went,
it's Sonic.
Mm-hmm. Because everybody who's a wrestling critic is a 90s kid.
Especially one of my favorite AEW fan artists, Dino Champ, shout out to them, did the whole Sonic drawing with Scorpio Sky, golden ring behind it, and he's doing the Sonic pose. It's adorable.
I saw that. I love it. Dino Champ is the absolute best.
Dino Champ is... I want to get some of their stickers so bad.
This was a really, really solid match. Great work from all the guys. A lot of good character stuff going around. Platinum Max Caster being the MVP, taking all the bumps.
Oh, yeah.
And a solid debut from our mystery competitor, who turned out to be, as was predicted by a lot of people, including yours truly, All Ego Ethan Page.
Hell yeah. And also, because he was in this match, he has a good beginning angle in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's all ego. He's like, fuck this, I don't want to share the ring with this many people. It's garbage.
Yeah.
And it's just good. It's good. It's a good way to immediately get his character over.
Yeah, which was great because I saw the thing about his Instagram, so I knew that, and I've heard the name Ethan Page around, but I don't really know a whole lot about Ethan Page. So he showed up in this match, and I was like, oh, cool. I ended up calling that. That's great. But, like, who is this gentleman? I'd like to get to know him. And we have a decent starter for him here. And then, unfortunately, a not so great thing for him on Wednesday, which is not entirely his fault, but God, we'll get to that.
Yeah. But honestly, real quick, they can work that in so fucking well with this character, though.
Hopefully.
But this was a great match.
Shout outs to my boy Cody, working that shoulder injury so well.
Oh, yep. But there was also like a fear that he was doing the Roman Reigns thing of like, oh, I'm gonna sit out the match for like 70% of it and come back and win it. He didn't. He didn't
Yeah.
because the boy, the lad, the man who reaches for the sky.
Scorpio Sky won the match by grabbing the brass ring after throwing Cody off the ladder.
Yep.
Mm. It's good. It's good. Made me happy because like Scorpio's been hanging around in the background of AEW since the start. He's gotten a little bit of highlighting here and there, but he's never really had like a huge push. So, hopefully this was the beginning of great things for him.
Whatever happened to him busting through the door as his entrance?
I think that was just for that one TNT title match.
Oh, that's a good entrance. They should do it.
Yeah. Like the only reason you wouldn't do it is having to buy a new door every week, but
No,
like
no,
it's a
no,
major wrestling company.
no. You just build a prop door that fits the thing, and can just like be pushed open, but also has like a latch. There's a way. There's a way you can make a good prop door to do that.
Okay, I trust you. You do theater.
You know, there's a way you can do it, but there was a bunch of good shit. Penta, of course.
Uh-huh.
Goddamn.
Didn't Penta take a Canadian or give a Canadian destroyer onto a ladder on the outside?
Yes, yes, he did. I don't remember who he did it to, but he did do a Canadian destroyer onto a ladder.
Mm-hmm.
Lance Archer, of
Mm-hmm.
course, being big boy, doing big boy shit. It was just
Yeah,
all around good ladder match.
it's great. Loved it.
But next, we do have the reveal of the mystery signee, and it's Christian Cage. All right.
Yeah. Um, not world shaking, didn't blow me away, but it was like, all right, he fits. I can see him in AEW. I'm sad that he's not going to get more nostalgia stuff with Edge because this might be the last run of his career. But like, you know what? Cool. We can make this work.
All those fandom edits of the hug from the Royal Rumble, though, is just kind of heartbreaking. It's just like, that wasn't a hug hello. That was a hug goodbye. It's like, oh.
Yeah. But like he did an interview on Renee Young or Renee Paquette is her real name. She's going by that now.
She
He
is
did an
Canadian,
interview on her
yes.
podcast. He did an interview on her podcast, and he basically said like, "Yeah, no, Edge was one of the first guys I called about it," and he was like, "Yeah, man, that's a great idea. You should definitely do that."
It definitely feels like he would have been lost in the shuffle in WWE if he re-signed. He wouldn't have been given anything cool to do. In AEW, he's a veteran. He's well respected. He's well loved and well regarded because several wrestlers have said Christian's a wrestler's wrestler.
hmm Like Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer the other day was talking about he has one of the best minds in wrestling. So like he's going to be great creatively backstage. So good for that. Yeah. The only thing I'm remotely worried about with this signing is the slogan they gave him of outwork everyone. I'm like, that would be great if he was like a fresh guy who just gotten trained and had like a really good cardio or something. But he's an older guy. He just came back from being retired because of an injury. Like maybe we shouldn't be putting him over as somebody who can just constantly be in matches and constantly win. Because we got to be ginger with him, don't we?
It may also be like a mental work, so who knows? That may be the angle
Uh-huh.
that may be the angle they're going for. He's like a chess player in the ring.
Hopefully.
Uh, but no, I think it's a good signing. I think we're gonna have more to talk about later with it.
Yeah, I got a piece to say about Dynamite this week, but we'll get to that when we
Yeah,
get
yeah, yeah,
to
we'll
it.
get to that.
Uh, But after this, we had the semi-main event of The Machine, Brian Cage, and Absolute Ricky Starks versus the Icon Sting and TNT Champion Darby Allin in a street fight with Taz on commentary. Cinematic match.
Cinematic match. What a lot of people expected, what I expected.
Mhm.
I think this is one of the better cinematic matches to have happened.
It's top three for me. I know you said it was your second favorite.
It is up because here's the thing. It's a different kind of cinematic match to the Broken stuff or Snadian
Mm-hmm.
Stampede. Like those are comedy skits. Those are like fun, raucous, like comedy bits. This is okay. We're going to take wrestling serious, and we're going to analyze it, and we're going to film it in a really cool way.
Yeah. Like that, those introductions alone made this match worth the watch.
God damn, the beginning of this fucking match was just a music video.
Mm-hmm. And
Oh,
there's some great fight stuff, some great stunts. And like all that is due to Darby. Apparently Darby had like 90% creative control with this, and like he was mostly the director. Um, and like I listened to the post-show media call with all the peoples, and Tony Khan was like really putting Darby over. It's like this was a big test for him of having been in film school and dropping out to become a wrestler, and now he's doing this. And one of the things he like really wanted to emphasize is Darby isn't just a great creative mind, not just a great worker, but he's also willing to do incredible stuff to get everything just right. That final stunt where he does a coffin drop onto Brian Cage onto like a giant wooden pallet that's suspended in between two balconies, and they go through that onto the bottom floor. They shot that 3 times
damn.
to make sure it worked just right.
There's also like kudos to give to Brian Cage for that too.
Mm-hmm.
But like no, this also made Sting look good. It hid some of the oldness of him. He does still look like a badass in this.
Yeah,
There was a lot
he
of
came
good
off very
moments.
much the same as Boneyard Match Undertaker.
Yeah. Big, older, but he can still throw a good punch. That kind of thing.
Definitely.
But no, this was genuinely really good, really solid. It built up the atmosphere of who these people were really well. So like, and even then, Team Taz at the end of this, even though they lost, still looked great.
Yeah, because like it took all of them, but they only were just barely just beaten by Darby instead.
Yep.
They looked really strong in defeats. Um, and really solid finish where Sting basically just drags Ricky back to the ring and then does a scorpion death drop on him for the 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Which some people could consider like a WWE level burial of, oh no, the hot new guy got pinned by a legend, but like he also got a lot of offense in on that legend in this match.
Yep. Yep. And also wasn't like part of Ricky Starks is like he got thrown out of something. He was just battered and bruised.
Yeah,
So no, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the camera work. I enjoyed everything on it.
definitely correct.
But in our main event of the evening, Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega with his manager Don Callis at ringside, and an exploding barbed wire death match for the world champion. And I think we need to talk about this in two parts.
Yeah, we need to talk about the match and then we need to talk about the finish.
So the match itself, fucking fantastic, banger of a match.
Great match. I love the slow build, the like just because like people were expecting it to be a big garbage wrestling thing, but it really wasn't. It was mostly psychology. They used the ring really well to their advantage. It took forever before somebody got thrown into the ropes. So when that first explosion goes off, it feels like a huge moment. There's also some great bits of them using the ring to their advantage really well, where there's a false finish where Moxley takes a one-winged angel and you think he's about to get pinned and lose, but he gets his ring up on the ropes and so they explode in Omega's face. Not technically a kick out, so the finish is still protected, but it makes Mox look incredibly smart and badass. Oh, I love that.
Also incredibly reckless, which is a really big thing with like these hardcore guys. If like they'll put their body on the line, kind of atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
This match is like wrestling in that one Alfred Hitchcock quote. You know the one. You can have a scene and have a bomb explode and you surprise people. But if you have a scene and you show the bomb, everybody, the audience goes like, "Oh shit, when's the bomb gonna explode?"
Yeah.
It's that tension. It's just like, "Oh god, come on, don't ah." I have one complaint about the match itself, though. I wish the barbed wire things on the outside looked more like the
The
barbed.
triple deaths,
What?
the triple deaths, I think they
Yeah,
were
the triple
called.
deaths. I wish they looked more like the barbed wire bed from the non-sanctioned match.
Yeah.
That would have been really cool. I understand it's probably not feasible with pyrotechnics and what they wanted to do, but that would have looked really good. Just in general, it was a solid fucking match. I don't think there should this should be a regular rotation thing in AEW, but
No, no, no. This is a once every 2 years thing, max.
this is once every when it needs to happen. Like not even like a timing thing. It's just like
Yeah.
but it was good. It was solid. It was great. And then Kenny Omega wins. He does do another Wandering Angel to John Moxley. He does get the pin, and there's like a
He put
good
him through a chair while doing a one-winged angel this
through.
time.
Yeah. Really putting over how tough Mox is. And then remember, exploding barbed wire death match. The bombs are armed and they cannot be turned off. That's part of the idea, part of the stipulation. So there's like 3 minutes on the clock left. So the Good Brothers come out. They start handcuffing John Moxley so he can't leave the ring. They're all laughing. They're all having a good time. And then Don Callis goes like, all right, guys, we need to get the fuck out of here. We have a minute on the clock. John is trying to get up, trying to get out. We're all going like, oh shit, fuck. This is, oh man. Because we also know John Moxley's having a kid on the way. He's probably getting written off TV. So we're going like, oh shit, Mox is getting fucked up. And then out comes the family. With Eddie Kingston coming, no, I gotta help my bro. And Butcher, Blade, and Bunny are going like, why do you want to help him? That's fucking dumb.
He's literally screaming, what the fuck at him.
Yeah. And then Eddie Kingston goes like, no. He runs over to John Moxley. He's trying to undo the handcuffs. He's looking at the clock. He's going back and forth. And he realizes, I don't have enough time. He pulls a Steve Rogers, covers John Moxley, going like, I may not be able to save you completely, but I can help protect you at least a little bit. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then
Gilbert came out. It was great. It was a really cool cameo. You know, I'm glad Gilbert is all elite now. It's gonna be great to see him interact with some of those newer comedy kids like Orange Cassidy. It's such an interesting, wonderful. I'm sorry.
It was the botch heard round the world. It was the first time I think we've ever heard genuine boos in an AEW event.
This was their first major fuck up.
This is
in 2 years, company's first major fuck up.
I mean, other people will also say there was other fuck ups. The debut of Butcher and Blade, the debut of Dark Order.
But those are flubs. Those are mishandlings. Those are missteps. This was like they had it planned well and it fucked up and it pissed people off.
Very much so. And it didn't help that in the moment, no one it didn't seem like they have a plan B. So in the moment, everybody sold it like it went off without a hitch.
Mm-hmm. And like initially, I was like, "Oh no, why are they? Oh, I'm so guys, just stop, just get up. It's fine, I won't be mad at you. Just get up, it's fine." And Brian Alvarez explained this very well on Wrestling Observer. If you're in that ring and you're face down on the mat covering your head, and you hear sparklers and a few pops go off on the side of the ring, you don't know that it didn't go to plan. To you, those were explosions. Okay, the explosion has gone off. I need to keep selling. Yep. They probably didn't know until they'd gotten backstage or Aubrey, who was there, said it in their ears.
Yep. And that's what did happen because there were a couple clips shared afterwards The biggest one on AEW's official social media, where John Moxley has a mic and basically talks to the audience, trying to calm them down, saying, "Hey, Kenny Omega's a tough son of a bitch. This was a hard fought match, but he can't build a exploding ring worth of shit."
Yeah, which is a fairly good cover. Not, I don't know if they had that backup planned, but obviously it was good of them to go to that instead of continuing to try and sell it. Especially because there were a few people very loudly in the crowd cheering refunds.
Yeah, I don't.
Like it's
I
an asshole thing to do, but but I do understand why someone would do it.
yeah. It definitely feels like an asshole move, especially when you just sat through a really pretty good pay per view.
Hmm.
One big botch like this shouldn't make the rest of it worse. I can understand making the final rating, your final like grade of it a little less, and like that's fine. I get
You
that.
can knock off a star for not having the explosion. I
Yeah,
get that.
but like it doesn't detract from those matches that already happened.
Hmm. Um,
From the product as a whole, sure, but
yeah.
like
And the other thing is, did you watch today's episode of the Wrestle Talk News yet?
not the news. I did watch the podcast.
Well, I don't know if they talked about it on the podcast, but on the news, apparently it's come out via sources Sean Ross Sapp has that this is entirely due to a third-party rigging company that set up the explosions for the ring for this match. Um, they botched it and apparently immediately got major heat backstage, and especially because they acted like it wasn't a big deal and quickly cleaned up their stuff and sauntered off like it was nothing.
So basically, yeah, we gave you a half-ass product. They acted like WWE.
Yeah, we gave you a shit product, but whatever, you still paid us. We're out of here.
Yep. That fucking blows.
Hmm. Like, I hope Tony left a hell of a customer review. That's all I'll say.
Well, I mean, I know one thing. He's probably never gonna work with them again.
Yeah. Mm.
Uh, overall, I was. I'm being hailed. I'll be right back.
All right.
We're going to the screen, folks. And we're back.
Hey.
Sorry about that, folks. That's what happens with live content.
Mm.
But, yeah. Botch heard around the world, kind of overshadowing a pretty good main event.
And a fantastic face turn.
Oh, yeah, very much so. But I think that was more cemented in Dynamite, which we'll get to. Overall, I think you gave your thoughts on the pay-per-view as a whole. I don't remember.
Yeah. It is solid. There's some middling things here and there that annoy me. Ultimately, probably not gonna live in on my head as like an all-time great AEW pay-per-view, but a solid one that blew off enough of the stuff they had been building. I mean, one thing I will really give this show, for as monotonous as the Sting and Darby versus Team Taz build got, this match, that payoff match was a fucking godsend.
Oh yeah, this felt like the end of the holding pattern of the COVID era.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they've been moving forward some stories, but this felt like the end of, all right, we're kind of stalling some things because of COVID.
Yeah.
But, tell me about BTE.
All right, so we had a interesting mishmash of stuff on BTE this week. It opened up with
And real
Matt
quick,
Jackson.
before we can go too much further, I did watch some of this, just not all of it. So I will be chiming in on things I did see.
Yeah. It opened up with Matt Jackson backstage in the in his locker room with the other EVPs, opening up a package of skateboard decks he got from Birdhouse, because apparently a lot of people have been getting into skating backstage at AEW, not just Darby. And so he was like, all right, I'll just buy a bunch of skateboards for Daly's place. This will be great. And then instead of trucks and wheels, he accidentally ordered a bunch of socks along with the decks he bought. So
it didn't seem like he ordered those socks. It just seems like Birdhouse was like, hey, let's give him a bunch of fucking socks.
I think that's how he was trying to play it off as, but me saying as I put two and two together, that's probably what happened.
It may.
He probably hit the wrong button.
It may have. But I think it's also really cool. It's just like, hey, there's a good couple of guys here that are skateboarding. Why don't we just have a couple boards here at Daly's place to kind of unwind for some bits?
Yeah, and like the first person you see picking over them is Ryan Nemeth, and that guy just got there. So
yeah, it's a genuinely nice gesture on the Jackson's part. It's just nice to see like a good camaraderie.
Mm-hmm. And then we went into some classic BTE goofiness, because we get a traveling montage that's constantly focusing in on Brandon trying to cover his crotch. And he immediately goes up to the Good Brothers and is like, yo guys, what the fuck? I know you did stuff and I have a boner. What's going on? And they admit about slipping the Viagra to him, and he's like, how the hell do I get rid of this then? And they're like, you gotta masturbate. You gotta masturbate. You didn't have sex all week while you were gone? Yeah, you gotta masturbate, dude. What? Yeah, come on. We're gonna, everybody, all three of us together. Let's go right now.
God.
I'm free. Come for the boys.
I saw the first half of this. I didn't see the second half. Jesus fucking Christ.
Like, literally, Luke Gallows is like, all right, put him in. On free. Come for the boys. And Brandon Cutler's like, I'm not saying that. Then we went to the latest segment with the Vicious Vixens and now Ryzen, where they're like, all right, we've been shaking people down for money doing the nun thing for weeks and weeks now. What else we got? What more life does this have to it? And Ryzen's like, church merch. We make t-shirts and stuff with holy sayings on them, and we start shilling that to people. And they're like, okay, this might work. And that's the whole segment. And I'm like, is that meant to be like low-key a parody of the Jacksons? Because I don't know if it quite works. Like, I feel like the punchline to that should have been, Oh yeah, there's literally already thousands of churches with thousands of corny, terrible Christianity shirts.
Yeah.
Bit of a weird fact. Then we got some BTES footage of the Shaq match. Looked cool, looked fun. And then there was a very cool little bit of Matt Jackson back at home with his son, basically going like, "Look, here's Dad's action figure. Here's your Uncle Nick's action figure. Now, watch this." And together they do the double table flip that Matt and Nick later did on Dynamite that week, and they kind of sync it up with the footage, and it's a cute little thing. It's a cute little thing they threw in.
I wonder if that's also like not a dig, but a reference to what Santana was doing with like going through with his daughter and his figure.
Probably. hmm that oh man, that tweet brought a tear in my eye. Just remembering it now.
Oh goddamn!
Um,
And the Matt Hardy response is fucking hilarious.
yeah.
Oh look, another
Uh,
figure. I'll put it with the thousands of others ones I have.
uh, Then we got some more Good Brother silliness with them in the waiting room after Dynamite, and the Jacksons, which is very weird that it's juxtaposed with the last bit, but like they come up and they go like, "Guys, why did you bring out tables? We had to flip onto those. That was not fun. Our backs hurt now. What the hell?" And the Good Brothers are like, "Oh, sorry, man. We just thought Daredevil stunts were your thing. You know, like how catching a kiss is our thing, man. Huh? Funny, funny, funny masturbation joke. Ha ha, funny." It's oof, it was a thing.
I wonder. I don't know, but could the Good Brothers be playing into the old veteran wrestlers are kind of weird and creepy bit?
I think that's definitely what they're going for because a big part of their aesthetic is we're just shilling the shit out of it, and like we're here to get our brother money. We don't want to work an actual match.
Yeah, because like the more and more I'm thinking of all the things they do and say, it feels like the kind of shit Undertaker would say. Yeah, that's what we did in the good old days. That's what we did. You know? Yeah, we
Yeah,
gave the boys Viagra. It was fucking funny. Yeah.
probably. Uh, but then we got our Dark Order segment from the week, which starts out with them all asking Hangman how much he got exactly, and he's like, "I'm not sure. I kind of just told him to fuck off with the money and saved enough so I could buy a new lawnmower." Which I don't know if you saw this on Reddit, but amazing long-term booking there. Um, and
It's
then
also a red one in reference to what Brody Lee got.
yeah.
So it's nice.
Uh, And then the Dark Order's like, "But we copied down your card number and we bought a bunch of stuff as gifts for you when you won the match." And he's like, "Wait, you didn't know if I was gonna win, and you bought a bunch of stuff for me with my card?" And they're like, "Yeah, in retrospect, this might not have been the best idea." He's like, "God damn it, I got to go see an accountant." And so he walks out, and they're like, "Well, kind of screwed that up, but hey, Hangman won. It's great. He's still our friend, probably, maybe, I don't know. But what are we gonna do about Anna? Anna's on the shelf, and that really sucks. We have no female member, and we have no one to nag or to be nagged by. What are we gonna do? Who's John Silver gonna yell Anna at?" And then there's a knock on the door, and the camera pans over, and Maki fucking Itoh is right there, double middle fingers. "Surprise, motherfuckers!" And they
Goddamn.
all cheer, and I cheered. I popped like a fucking mark. It was wonderful.
Goddamn. We were all simps that day.
hmm I can't wait to see how they follow up on it on Monday.
Goddamn.
Um, and then BT ended with Private Party going up to Matt Hardy's hotel room and trying to console him, but he answers the door and just kind of blankly stares at them, eats some grapes out of his hand, and they're like, "Matt, are you okay?" And he says, "I don't want to talk right now." And he closes the door. And Mark Quinn goes to knock on the door again, and Isaiah's like, "Let's give him some space." And Mark Quinn's like, but he might be back on stuff, dude. That was a weird look. It's like, I don't know, but I don't want to mess with him right now. Let's give him some space. And BT fades out on that.
Could we be getting broke in Matt Hardy?
Oh, that'd be so great.
At least on BTE, that'd be a funny gag.
Mm-hmm. Uh, and
For all
then,
the for all the smarks.
because I'm pretty sure you didn't watch Impact this week.
No, but I did see the news. I did see the announcement.
Yeah, because we got a huge announcement out of Impact this week. Um, Nothing really to say about the Tony Khan paid ad this week. He just kind of like recapped Revolution and said, "Yeah, we're going to explain the explosion or lack thereof tomorrow. So tune in." But then we had a thing with Moose and Rich Swann, where Moose calls Scott D'Amore out to the ring. He says, "Like, I heard you have a big announcement. Come out here and say it to all these people with me. All these lack of people with me. Get out here. Ha ha." So Rich Swann and Scott D'Amore come out, and Scott D'Amore's like,
It
"All
sounds
right,
like you're
guys."
saying Scott the Waz. I know you're not, but it sounds like you're about to say Scott the Waz, and now all I can see is Scott the Waz going, "Hey y'all, Scott here, wrestling."
I mean, low key, I am kind of waiting for the wrestling video games episode of Scott the Waz. I can't wait for that to happen and for him to just be bemused at the whole situation.
And just go like, apparently this one on the N64 is the best one. Why?
uh, but Scott D'Amore is basically like
him up there.
he basically goes, "All right, Moose, you've been whining and complaining forever. You've been carrying around this title that you basically just stole out of a prop locker and calling yourself a champion forever. And as somebody who was in charge, one of the people in charge back when we were called TNA, I think it's fucking disgusting that you're abusing that belt like that. So now it's reinstated and it's official. The match between you and Rich Swann isn't just going to be for the Impact title. It will be for that title, and it will be a title unification match. Whoever wins the match on Saturday at Sacrifice will be the one true champion of this company. And after that, at our next pay-per-view, Rebellion, on April 24th, the winner will face Kenny Omega for the AEW Championship in a title versus title match. And after they both like smile and start pointing to their belts like, "Oh yeah, it's going to be me. It's going to be me." They just cut backstage and Don Callis is sitting on the phone smiling and he's like, "Yeah, Kenny, I just saw there. It's all going according to plan." And Impact fades out on that. It was fucking beautiful.
Goddamn, I hope that's the running thing with a lot of these, like, Kenny collecting champions. Of, like, the people he's getting them from, the companies, they're so wrapped up in their own fucking garbage that they don't get that Kenny's coming for them, you know?
Yeah.
Rich Swann and Moose are so wrapped up in, like, their personal feud that they don't realize this guy from AEW is coming in and going to take their belt. Like, that should...
Nick Aldis is so wrapped up in trying to keep NWA alive that he doesn't train properly for the match.
Like, that's the kind of vibe
he's so focused on trying to get through to his friend that he's not even thinking about winning the match.
Are so focused on being the, like, isn't his gimmick right now he's like the messiah of wrestling or something?
I don't know much about
yeah, no, that's something we gotta look up more. But, like, that I think could be the good through line with all of this, to not just bury all these champions and companies, because that's a big problem with this, because you're basically making an Uber champ and making their main event stars look a little weak in comparison.
Yeah.
But if you frame it as like, oh, they're getting wrapped up in their own heads and not paying attention, it frames it better. It keeps them over.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
But now, what I think is probably one of the best Dynamites we've had this year.
Okay.
I will explain in a bit, but I think it's genuinely fantastic. And it starts with one of the best matches of Dynamite of the year.
Okay.
Ray Phoenix with Pac in his corner versus Matt Jackson with Nick Jackson in his corner. This was fun.
This is fun. Yes, this is very good. I don't think this was Dynamite of the Year level
I said
fun.
one of. It's not number one, but it's like in top 10. You can go with top 10.
Maybe. There's a lot of year left, dude.
I think it also should be considered for like the next angle and some of the other stuff that comes in later, because I think it does a bang up job with what goes on. But this match in specific, it was a great technical version of a Phoenix match. Know what I mean? Like normally if you that was a perp.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh
Normally,
boy.
normally a Phoenix match. Oh boy, that was weird. Normally a Phoenix match goes all over. It's a Phoenix match. He's bouncing, banging everywhere. But with Matt Jackson, it kind of slows down and becomes a much more technical version of one of those. And it was really good, really cool psychology, and it made me hype for the tag match that they're gonna have eventually.
Yeah, I thought this match was really interesting. I like, especially because the Young Bucks are known as big flippy boys. It was neat to see Matt Jackson go for that whole psychology, trying to ground Ray Phoenix thing, whereas Ray Phoenix is just constantly trying to flip out of Matt Jackson's grasp and can only just barely do it. It was very interesting. I also like the tension with the dudes on the outside constantly being in play. It was very good handling of that.
Especially because they each
And
got a move each to kind of build some like more tension for the eventual tag match.
yeah, um, and yeah, I thought this match was solid. It was a good opener. And I'll admit I kind of set myself up to not like it probably as much as you did, just because I remember Nick Jackson versus Ray Phoenix, so I went into this expecting like it to be on that level, and it's a very different kind of match. So it kind of threw me, and I was like, okay, this isn't what I was expecting, but it's still okay. It's still good. I'm enjoying myself.
But Phoenix does win. He pins Matt Jackson, which just builds more like intrigue of like, oh, are they gonna win the tag champions?
Hmm. Very, very interesting, very fun. But then we go to a promo from Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. A lot of people love this promo. I thought it was pretty good, not amazing, but really good stuff from Eddie, where he basically compares what happened to being called for trial. He says he was super anxious. He had all this stuff building up in his head, so he just passed out. He wasn't selling the explosion. He was passed out from pure anxiety, anticipating the explosion.
Yep.
And I love, as he's explaining this, Moxley is like half passed out in the back with sunglasses on, and he just slowly starts to wake up and take them off. And he's like, "Are you talking about that explosion? That's fucking stupid. Who paid for that? Oh my god."
Oh, and the
Jesus.
impact joke. Oh,
I and fucking I went to Revolution for a title match, and all I got was this crummy T-shirt. Oh
but they also got to pimp out the shirt. It's a good shirt. It's a good shirt.
yeah,
I'm happy I got
good
it.
shirt.
Uh,
Hmm.
I think this isn't one of the best Eddie Kingston promos or one of the best Mox promos, but it is a perfect exemplary of their promo skills.
Yeah, and it set up their dynamic super well. Like they straight up said at one point, one of them straight up said at one point, "Oh, I got a drinking buddy back," and it's very much what this promo felt like. Was a couple of drinking buddies telling you about something that happened to them last week.
And like nearing the end of the promo, they were giving jabs at each other that like old friends would do. It's like, oh come on, hey, you know me, yeah, that kind of shit.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like I love the Moxley going like you had to get your Tims and do your eyebrows, and Eddie Kingston going like, yeah, this is pay per view, I gotta look nice. What the fuck you talking about, man? You know my style. And it's like that kind of like genuine friendship was just really cool. But like, did anybody have any doubt that Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston could sell the botch of that ending could like make it make sense within this world.
Yeah.
Because it's just with that one promo, it's like, oh, okay, cool, everything is better. It's not where it could have been, because if the explosion
It's
went
not
off,
fixed, but it's patched up.
it's patched,
Mm-hmm.
and because it's patched, we can now move forward and do better things.
Mm-hmm.
If it went off, we would be talking about an S tier everything. It didn't go off. It went down to C. That promo brought it back up to a B. We're on the way to fixing it things.
Yeah. Next thing is you.
Yeah. I'm reading ahead to make sure. But next up we have the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes with Arn Anderson at his side, going up against Seth Gargis in a genuine squash match. It's not
Literal squash match.
Literal squash match. It's an angle because he makes the
when Cody's making his entrance, really sweet moment where he goes up and gives his weight belt to a disabled kid. Just a nice little reminder of like, oh yeah, there's that partnership with Culture City, and that's a huge deal to Cody and Brandi.
Yeah. But it's also just like a genuine like, hey, here's a fun thing. Here's doing something cool. It's basically put the kid over a little bit too. It's like, yeah.
And remind you, Cody is a babyface.
He's a babyface in the public relations department. He can get a little dickish in the ring.
He's a babyface with an attitude problem.
Yeah, which is what a lot of the babyface style tweeners in AEW are. So it's kind of reinforced that kind of idea. But he makes his opponent tap out on figure 4. Classic old school move, of course. We're going to get an interview talking to Cody, talking about the shoulder, talking about the match he just had at the ladder match. When you hear in the distance rumblings, and then aesthetic god himself, Penta El Cielo Mero, stands up, lucha mask, face paint, suit.
Am I wrong? Is it a fucking salmon suit and he made it look dapper as fuck?
It wasn't salmon, it was like a burgundy. It was like really fucking nice.
Yeah, it was so good. Like, legitimately, Jeremy Padour, give me this version of Penta in the Unrivaled collection. I'd buy it.
Goddamn. There's something just with Lucha Libre masks and suits. Just that is fucking aesthetic goals. But he stands up, grabs the mic, and goes like, "Hey, Cody," and says a variety of things, and it's just like, "Hey, I can't remember his name right now."
Alex Upperhendes.
He basically goes like, "Hey, come with me, translate for me, because I don't want to fucking."
We were at the Spanish announce table.
Yeah, that Spanish announce table, and basically goes like, "Translate for me, because I don't want to fucking bother saying it in English." And Alex is kind of playing into it. He's playing a little heel, and it was really cool. And basically,
he's like, "Oh, you mean I get to be on TV this week? All right."
So Penta then proceeds in Spanish to just call out Cody, call him a bitch, say, "You lost. I can beat your ass. Fuck you.
You may be the Prince of Pro Wrestling, but I'm the Lord of Lucha Libre."
That's a t-shirt. Lord of Lucha Libre. And basically he says, "I'm gonna break your arm. No, you're lucky I didn't break your arm, so you could keep so you wouldn't be able to hold your little baby girl." And Cody just goes like, "All right, fuck you." And we have a brawl. We have a pull apart section of it. Are we Penta versus Cody? God damn it!
Sure. Let's build to that for a little bit. Let's do that. I'm perfectly fine with it. This is a great opening angle to that feud. And like honestly, it totally threw me because the day of this Dynamite, I had a conversation with my buddies who are into wrestling at work, and they were like, "So what do you think Christian's first feud in AEW is going to be?" And I thought about it for a second, and I went, "Cody. It's going to be Cody because he's worked with Cody a few times in AEW before. He's one of the faces of AEW. be a good way to kind of get Christian acclimated to the company. Give him somebody he's familiar with, but has evolved quite a bit since they last had a match. And you can kind of play it as like old veteran from WWE is trying to come and steal Cody's thunder as the big baby face of the company. So I was like they advertised Cody in action. We will hear from Christian Cage. I was like, that's the same segment. They're just not telling us it is. And then they did this instead, and I was like, this isn't what I wanted, but this is much better. Thank you.
No, it's fantastic, and it's probably also going to lead to a big blow off match where Penta does break Cody's arm and he get written off of TV to help take care of his kid for a bit.
Mm-hmm. Probably a Bash at the Beach, I would expect. Because
Yeah.
I think that's the next major event.
I mean, no, the next major event is next week, St. Patty Smash.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. Because they just kind of mentioned it at the last minute.
Yeah. But that's what Penta is known for, is like breaking arms. So like, it works with the fact that Cody's been selling his arm for the past couple weeks. This is fucking great. It got Penta over as a promo guy. Like in Spanish, I know like a few words, I think, but like I could just feel the venom dripping out of his mouth.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Spanish is one of those languages that with the right inflection to an English speaking ear, it just sounds badass. Like it's up there with Japanese in that way.
Oh yeah, but like I think this was a good segment. I think this was solid, and I can't wait to see what comes out of it.
Definitely. But after that, we got a little bit of setup for something coming next week. Or is it next week or is it in the next couple weeks? I forget.
I think it might be next week.
Okay. Because basically, Chuck Taylor is at an arcade. I think it's the same one they filmed Two Point Show at. But he's in an arcade. He's walking past a bunch of machines and he's talking about, like, hey guys, yeah, you kind of kicked our ass at Revolution. And you're big gamer boys, aren't you? You like your video games. Look at all these video games. Orange, you're not actually playing your video game. What the hell, man? Whatever. Hey, how about we have one more match? Because I'm still pissed at you for putting my friend on the shelf. So let's have one more match. But let's do something fun. Let's do something a little different. Let's take all these video games. Let's put them around the ring. And then me and Orange, we're going to put you through each and every one of them. What do you say?
Arcade lumberjack match.
Mm-hmm. Like, this might be, for lack of a better term, this is going to be the web redemption for the frickin' Fyter Fest death match of what was his name? Michael Nakazawa versus the guy who ran the video game convention that everyone hated.
Yeah, but that was a favor give me. It wasn't a match. But no, I think this is going to be interesting. I definitely want this feud. Like, I want this to be the end of the feud.
Yeah, I hope this is like a big blow off leading into, like, hopefully Miro getting mad at Kip because they lose, and then them splitting up after that.
I can see what would happen if, like, Chuck and Cassidy do valiant babyface things, they win, and at the end, Miro puts Kip Sabian through an arcade cabinet.
Probably.
And maybe that's their next feud is Kip and Miro going up against each other. Maybe that's kind of the vibe. But after that, we have Tony Schiavone coming out to talk to Sting. Sting starts to cut a promo, and then he's interrupted by Guess. But guess who interrupted him?
It was Lance Archer and it was Jake the Snake. It was nice. It was cool to see them. But, like, I am so done with this Sting format. Why the hell did we bring it back? And furthermore, where the hell was Darby? Where was any mention of Darby? Why wasn't Sting in Darby's match later? Are they not together anymore? What's going on with that? This was really weird and felt disjointed from the whole rest of the show, in my opinion. I didn't like this segment at all.
I think it's just a lampshade of, like, this is what we've been doing. Yeah, no more of this.
Hmm. But like, doesn't Sting say as he's leaving, "I'll see you in the next one, Tony"?
No, he says. I think he says like, I don't think there'll be a next one.
Maybe I misheard.
Maybe I don't remember exactly, but it definitely felt more like it felt tongue in cheek because Sting's talking, and he's going on, and then Lance Archer interrupts, and you just look on his face, it's like, God damn it, why? The same reaction we would all have.
Yeah,
Uh, but I'm excited for Sting versus Lance Archer. That'd be fun.
could be, yeah.
Uh,
But then we went on to an interesting series of things, which was QT Marshall cutting a promo backstage, talking about like, yeah, Dustin and I, we had some friction at Revolution, but I got mad. I was in the moment. It happens. I've got a cooler head now. We're gonna be cool. Things are gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay.
I'm not
Let's
total
go to
heel
this
yet.
match. Yeah, yet being the operative word. Uh, but let's go to this match, huh? Let's go to this match, and then we get all ego Ethan Page versus Big Shotty Lee Johnson with QT Marshall. Oh boy, this match could have been really solid, but due to network issues, it was a big freaking mess. Because somewhere at Turner Towers, wires got crossed, and we got half AEW audio and half audio from some basketball game during this entire segment, including the angle that ends it, and it really hurt the whole thing.
Luckily, though, as soon as that was noted, Tony Khan just went like, "All right, upload the entire segment to YouTube."
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I was watching like a couple hours after the fact because I like to do that. I like to be up. It's easier to pause and watch and all that kind of stuff. So when I saw that happen, I just immediately went to the YouTube video, watched it, and went back.
Fair enough.
Um, but I think this was a good match. It was solid. It did showcase Ethan Page a good bit. It did showcase Lee Johnson some. The angle itself was interesting because at the end, Lee
Uh,
Johnson loses.
Edge, yeah, he gets pinned after an ego's edge, and then Ethan Edge just starts attacking him, trying to injure him more and more. And QT Marshall just kind of watches from ringside and then starts walking off. Well, Dustin comes out, saves Lee Johnson, and is like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" What the fuck is QT? QT, the fuck are you doing? What's going on?
Yep.
And that's where we're left.
Um, and honestly, like I was saying earlier, I think these audio issues can play into Ethan Page's character. Because again, he's all ego. It's all about him. It's like, fuck everyone else. It's me. I'm the best. And having these audio issues, I can just see him cut a fun promo next week and go like, AEW just doesn't want me to fucking succeed here. They don't fucking care about me. They know I'm the best and I would overshadow everyone else here. So they fucking fuck with my audio.
Mm-hmm.
It's garbage.
That, and also, like, I think he should say, they're trying to make me the next Matt Sydal. Because I saw somebody say he's on the road to being that on Twitter, and I was like, ooh, that's sad but true.
I mean, Matt Sydal's picked himself back up relatively.
Yeah, but it took him a little bit.
Yeah. But, like, I can see that he has the perfect character to play into it.
Mm-hmm.
Best way to put it. But next up, we have a little segment with the Dark Order. Alex Marvez goes and talks to not Dustin, Hangman. Goes like, "Hey, Hangman, what are you doing with all that money?" And it's a more cogent, complete version of, I would imagine, the BTE skit. He basically goes, "Yeah, I bought some things that I needed. I bought this lawnmower. I used it for a couple things, and then I donated the rest to charity."
I think he specifically said the Jacksonville Children's Fund.
Yeah, really good, wholesome babyface move, especially for like a good, wholesome cowboy character he is. Yeah, and it also it rubs salt in the Matt Hardy wound. And he goes like, you didn't even use my money. You just fucking gave it away.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't even save
Yeah,
it.
I was just trying to teach you a lesson, bro.
And he's gonna learn the. He's gonna it is it's funny, it's great, but then the rest of the Dark Order come in and they go like, "Hey, let's go get ice cream." Yeah, and they all get on the lawnmower except for Five.
Because
And
fuck you, Five.
no, there's a weight limit. Even though
Mm-hmm.
they far exceeded the weight limit because they fucking popped a fucking wheelie.
The look on Hangman's eyes for a brief second where he's like, "Oh shit." It's like long story short, I work on forklifts quite frequently at my job. And I'm lifting heavy pallets of shit, sometimes more than one at once. So I have made that face a couple times. So to see it on Hangman was really hilarious.
It was great. Also, did you know what Hangman was wearing? Did you notice?
What was he wearing?
A purple shirt.
Oh yeah, okay.
What's the
Very
color of
nice.
the Dark Order?
Purple Nurples.
It's boysenberry.
Mm-hmm.
It's a rutabaga.
My favorite kind of syrup. Whenever I go to IHOP, I put the poison berry on my pancakes. It's delicious.
Cough IHOP.
Uh, but then we go back to the ring, and Tony Schiavone is there to get some words from Christian Cage because he's the new hot shiny toy in AEW, and well, Tony Schiavone's just got to interview him. But when he goes to welcome him out, Kenny Omega's music starts playing, and the sweepers start coming out, and then we get a full-on Kenny Omega entrance with the Good Brothers and Don Callis. All the while, Tony Schiavone is just going like, seriously? Really? All this pomp and circumstance? Again, I'm getting interrupted twice in one show. Are you kidding? Fuck this.
Oh man, it's like I could have swore he also said, "I'm supposed to interview Christian Cage. What are you guys doing?"
Yeah.
Uh,
But Kenny and Don come out to the ring, and they start cutting a promo basically saying like, yeah, it doesn't matter that the explosion doesn't work. It doesn't matter whose fault it was because it was a win-win scenario. Either we would have destroyed Mox forever or we embarrassed him in front of the entire world. And you know what? We embarrassed him in front of the entire world. That's still pretty great. And then they do this big gag where the timer starts going off again. And
because
Kenny screams at the top of
Eddie Kingston came out to confront them, and they just keep egging him on and go like, "Oh, we're gonna give you 10 seconds to get out of this ring," and the timer starts, and then
Kenny screams at the top of his lungs, 69 me, Don! And lies down on the ring. And then Don Callis actually does it. And the Good Brothers are just running around waving their arms like, oh no, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And it's a whole lot of nothing. And they start laughing at Eddie. And Kenny's like, oh, you want this, don't you? You want this belt, don't you? Well, you're not going to get this belt. But tell you what, go ahead and take it. First shot's free. First shot's free. Come on. And Eddie being Eddie, he of course does. And that leads to a big brawl. Mox immediately comes out and helps his friend. And he's shortly followed by Christian Cage, who runs all the people off, gets into it with Kenny for a second. And they have a bit of a stare down. And eventually they all leave. And Cage stands tall with the other two baby faces.
you're forgetting one thing that happened. Christian Cage walks over to the AEW heavyweight belt.
I was about to say that, yeah. He held it up, and he kind of made it look like that was going to be his first program, was going for the championship. And like, look, I get it. I definitely get wanting to put this relatively big name right at the forefront of your company, right when you get them. But this feels very Impact to me. Like this feels like a potential major misstep, in my opinion, especially when you have such a firmly established rating system. And that was the thing throughout this whole episode, because during that opening match, SCU's sitting in the crowd, and they keep cutting back to them and going like, oh yeah, they're the number one contenders. They're next in line for a title shot. And I'm like, wait, if we're going to point out the ranking system and that they're next in line, why are we doing this thing with Death Triangle? Why aren't they getting the title shot now, especially when you look at the actual rankings and they've got such a higher ranking than Death Triangle? Why did we do that Battle Royal? Why are we doing this angle with Christian when he just got here and doesn't have any wins or losses under his belt?
Well,
it makes no sense in the internal logic of the company.
Yes, it does. First off, rankings doesn't mean number one always gets the number one contendership. Rankings are just saying, like, these 5 people are in the contenders, and, like, if we want 5 to go for the belt, we can say 5. Like, that's how it works in UFC. That's how it works in Bellator. That's how it works in combat sports.
Is it?
Yes, that's how it works.
Okay. I haven't watched any UFC or Bellator.
But, like, that's generally, the ranking is more of, like, these are the top 5. We kind of put them in, like, who we think's the best out of these 5. But these all 5 can all go for the belt. Okay, so that's thing 1. Thing 2, I don't think Christian Cage is going for the belt immediately. I think that's the eventual path he wants to take. I think that's the path the character wants to get on. I think he's basically going like, I want this eventually, but I'll work for it. Because that's the thing, outwork everyone. If next week he cuts a promo saying like, Kenny Omega, I want you, yeah, I'll agree with that. It's a bad move. I don't think it's good. But if next week he starts having matches on a regular basis, trying to build up his score to earn that shot, I think we have something good.
That's fair. It's just, I would have also like said, if that's what you're going to do, if you're going to shot him to the belt so quickly, maybe instead of teasing an interview and doing this whole thing, or I'm sure before the botched explosion, they planned for this to just be a straight up interview. But, like, why not just have him be in a semi-squashed match as the match of Dynamite this week? I think that would have been way better.
Honestly, I have a pet theory about this entire Dynamite. And I think this might be as good a place as any to talk about it, because this Dynamite feels like we did a time skip 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it feels like this is a Dynamite 2 weeks after Revolution.
I can definitely feel that, yeah.
And in some regards, I like that, because it immediately got us into a lot of interesting programs, like Penta versus Cody, the arcade lumberjack match. I'm excited to see that just because arcade cabinets are fucking cool. Lance Archer versus Sting, QT, and his whole stuff. It immediately kicked us onto another thing, which for a company that has a lot of slow builds, every once in a while basically putting in some nitrous oxide into the engine is a good thing in my opinion. It's not a thing you need to do all the time. You shouldn't do it all the time, but every once in a while kind of going like, it's immediately intrigue. That's what it is. And I am at like 50-50 with the Christian Cage thing. So, wait, what else was going on about? Real quick. The reason I think they did the time skip is because of the botch, and they wanted to get it to a lot of big moments, because A, people who are there to watch Dynamite anyway are going to be going there and going like, okay, what's happening? How are they going to explain it? And immediately you get a bunch of cool shit. It's like, oh, okay. Things are on the up. Anybody who was there to laugh at AEW because of the botch, to see how they fucked up, will also be getting a lot of weird, big, bombastic stuff and go like, oh, okay. It was basically, it's another Band-Aid on the situation that's not necessarily an overt Band-Aid like the Eddie Kingston promo and like this Kenny Omega promo. If that makes sense.
That's fair. I can definitely see that.
It's not necessarily a great thing, but I think that's kind of how it happened. And that's also why I think they had Christian Cage say, like, I'm going for the belt, because it's an immediate, oh, that's a hook. Mm-hmm. That's a thing that kind of hooks you in and goes like, oh, it's Christian going for the belt. And next week is probably going to be like, yeah, I'm going for the belt, but I need to earn my place here, so I'm fighting Ryan Nemeth.
Yeah, yeah, let's do that.
You know,
I'm on board. If that's what happens, I'm on board.
that's kind of how I see it, and that's kind of how they. I don't want to say how they book things, but it does feel like an AEW style of booking.
Mm-hmm.
But if next week Christian Cage comes out and goes like, "I want you, Kenny Omega," yeah, no, fuck this.
Mm-hmm.
I will still be excited for the match because that seems like an interesting match, but that's a
And I mean, in all fairness, Cage and Omega have never wrestled, so it's an interesting prospect.
But it does feel like an impacty. But if that does happen, it would be very impacty. It would be very WWE with Goldberg, which is the big thing we've always been complaining about. Part timers coming back into WWE is just don't put them on the championship angle. Don't do that. It's dumb.
And how many times have we applauded AEW for treating their legends the proper way?
Right. And we also tend to forget Cage is a younger legend. He's not the same age as Sting. He's not the same physicality of Paul White. He is younger.
Cage isn't shaking around the gas can to get a little more going. He's got maybe another 10 miles left in the tank now that he's healed up.
Yeah, he's good to go. He can wrestle. It's just there's also a level of like, it's Cage. It's Christian, you know? Like, for a lot of people, that's Edge's sidekick.
It's fair.
So like I am 50-50 until I see more, but I do agree it will be bullshit if it does happen.
We'll take us on to the next thing then.
The next thing though, we have a triple threat, 3 versus 3, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, with Reba, not Rebel, the Native Beast, Nyla Rose, with Vicky Guerrero, and the fired idol Maki Itoh versus Hikaru Shida, Anaki Ryu Mizunami, and Thunder Rosa. And goddamn, this intro to this match, best fucking bit of the night.
This had me smiling ear to ear because it's less a match and just a giant brawl, a giant lady brawl of all the notable ladies in AEW serenaded by Maki Itoh.
It was great. It's also so she comes out, she's doing her old theme, and the match starts. She's just continued singing.
She just does not care, and the entire time Tony Schiavone's going like, "This is the most wonderfully weird thing I've ever seen," and JR's like, "What? What? Okay, but what?"
And Excalibur just cracking up. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, we do get a good, solid little match.
Mm-hmm. Some great work between Itoh and Shida, which sets up that they're going to have a title match on the first episode of Elevation on Monday.
Yeah, and Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker have a lot of good back and forth. Nyla Rose is fucking Nyla Rose, one of the best big women in wrestling. And just a bunch of good shit. Setting up. I wouldn't say a bunch of exact feuds, but it does set up a good number of characters, a good number of people that they might want to use, all that kind of stuff. And it's a good fun match.
Yeah.
To the next thing.
The post match thing.
Oh, what? Oh yeah.
Because after the match, all the Joshis start leaving. Like they just don't pay attention to anything. They're just like, yeah, we're all friends because we're all from Japan. Goodbye. And then just immediately, Thunder Rosa starts beating, Britt Baker starts beating the shit out of Thunder Rosa, and all the American lady heels join in.
Yeah, and Thunder Rosa's just beaten down, leading to the announcement for next week. In your main event, lights out, unsanctioned, Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa.
That's very exciting.
Very, very exciting. That's going to be grand. It's going to be fun. It's going to be good.
Mm-hmm. But then we go backstage and we see a meeting of the Matt Hardy brand LLC, where Matt is still eating his grapes. He's still a little sour. He's still a little upset.
But dear God, I just fucking got that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I didn't get it until after BTE finished, but I had gotten it. Uh,
You didn't say sour earlier.
for the audio listeners, Boyne was just putting his hand on his face right now, like, God damn it.
You
How did I
didn't
not
say
realize
sour
that?
earlier, but now you say sour fucking grapes.
Because I figured you might make the connection on your own.
I'm an idiot. What the fuck you talking about?
That's going to be in the eventual channel trailer for Modular. Uh, but yeah, Private Party are basically like, all right, Matt, we got to move on. What are we going to do next? What's next? Are we going for the tag titles again? You want to go for the TNT title? What are we doing? And Matt's like, I hired a new team. I hired new people. You guys are still good. You guys are still great. We're going to do great things with you. But I hired new people, put them in the same contracts as you guys, and they're big money makers. So we're going to be okay. They're like, who'd you hire? Who's it going to be? And I'm sitting there like, oh, okay, TH2 is being brought into the fold officially. That's nice. That's cool. And then the camera turns around, and it's the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny. And for the entire rest of the show, I was going, what the fuck? Why didn't they turn with Eddie? That what? Why didn't we see a proper split? And I had to go back and rewatch Revolution to see that. Oh yeah, that was the proper split. Like this really threw me with how subtle it was.
Yep. But I think this is gonna be a fun dynamic. It's gonna be weird.
Because they're a bunch of mercenaries with a a fun but more athletic based team and just a crazy rich guy.
It definitely feels like this could also lead to Private Party breaking away from Matt Hardy and feuding with the Butcher, Blade, and Bunny.
Hmm. Yeah, that could be good.
In like 6 months' time.
Yeah.
But in the final wrestling match of the evening, we have Scorpio Sky versus Darby Allin for the TNT Championship, and this was a pretty good match.
It was a pretty good match, yeah. Not super high caliber, but pretty good.
But there's
Showed
some
off
good
both guys really well.
good big spots though, with Sky doing some bang on counters.
Yeah, like there's one point where Darby tries to do a coffin drop to the outside, and Scorpio catches him in a diamond cutter, and that was awesome.
There was another
Um,
one where Darby's doing a coffin drop from the top rope, and he catches him, power bomb.
yeah, and just some great work. I especially from the commentators. The commentators did a lot to get over Sky's character in this match, and like even though like one thing I forgot to mention earlier, Scorpio Sky, one of the first ever AEW tag team champions, and I loved him during that. Had a great time with him. I didn't super connect with him. Here, I connected with him because they played up the fact that he has had anger management issues in the past, and they sometimes come to the forefront in matches. And oh, look, it's coming to the forefront in this match. And I don't talk about it publicly too much, but I've had anger management issues my whole life. It's not been a huge problem recently, but I would say like as recently as maybe 6 months ago, they were still a big issue. Um, and so seeing that played out in wrestling was really cool. It was really cool to see how they adapted that kind of personality to wrestling, especially with the post match angle.
Other than a guy named Randy Orton.
Yeah, but Randy Orton I treat as like more genuine mental disorder.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's like that was my first thought of like, oh yeah, anger issues. The Snake Man, Randy Orton.
Mm.
Uh, Not in a 1-to-1. I don't want Sky to be AEW's Randy Orton, but it was just a dumb connection in my brain. But
But the whole match he's just going like, God damn it, why can't he beat this twink? Why can't I fucking beat him? I'm the fucking fish of the revolution. I should fucking win this match. Why am I doing it? He's getting more and more aggressive, and that was so good.
yep, and eventually Darby does win with a roll up. Not even like a big blow off finish. And Sky's just sitting there going like, "Fuck this shit," and starts beating on Darby.
Yeah. gets him in a big old leg hold and will not let go. He has to be dragged off of Darby.
And
And then
as Darby's being tended to,
he leaves for the heel tunnel. Scorpio Sky's a heel now.
not only
And you know
that,
what?
he's laughing to himself like, that felt good.
Mm-hmm. We're about to get Embrace the Hate Scorpio Sky, and I'm fucking here for it.
Yep. But we got some matches announced for next week. We already talked about Britt versus Thunder unsanctioned match. We are getting Cody versus Penta, so I don't know if this is the break the arm match or if we're leading up to a bigger one of that,
Mm-hmm.
or if maybe Cody they are doing the break the arm, but they're leading it to more Penta is the arm breaker again, and that's kind of his angle and story. We're
Maybe
getting a
this
bit.
loops back into Death Triangle, like 6 man of Cody and the Bucks versus Death Triangle.
That'd be interesting. We're getting Jade. She's going to be back. We're getting Mox and Kingston versus the Good Bros. That's going to be fun. A lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff lined up next week.
Mm-hmm. Especially with what ended the show, because in a very surprising turn, we didn't get a wrestling match to end this week's episode of Dynamite. And the first time in a long time for Dynamite they've done that, because we got the Inner Circle War Council, where the group comes out and Jericho gets on the mic and he starts talking about like, yeah, things aren't going the best for us. Might be time for a change in the Inner Circle. Might be time to add a new member. And MJF is like, actually, Chris, I was thinking maybe it might be time to maybe get rid of somebody. Like we're having a real rough go of it. And immediately I was like, great misdirection because of something they had to do later. Immediately I was like, oh shit, Wardlow's not there. Please tell me they're not axing Wardlow.
Mm.
But he's starting to lead into something, and then Sammy Guevara comes out, and I was like, okay, this is much sooner than I expected. What's going on? And Sammy comes out, and Chris is like, why are you here? We said we were never going to say your name again. Why the fuck are you here? And Sammy's like, please, just watch this video I have. Just watch this video real quick. I promise. You're going to want to see this. And we go to found footage of Sammy putting his camera in the Inner Circle locker room, and it fast forwards to MJF coming in to talk to Santana, Ortiz, and I almost said Wardlow, but Jake Hager. And he's like, all right, guys, tonight's the night. We agree Chris has got to be put out the pasture, right? And I'm like, yeah, sure thing. And then it cuts back to the ring, and MJF's just got this little smirk. He's like, all right, I didn't want you to find out this way, Chris, but get him. And the Frees start creeping towards Jericho. And with perfect precision timing, they all turn and face MJF. And he's like, and Jericho's like, you fucking idiot. Do you really think we didn't all talk all the time every day in a private chat? Do you really think we weren't just waiting for you to turn on us? We knew this was going to happen from day one. And now you're the one who's getting a grade A beat down because you're out of the Inner Circle, buddy. And so they all get him in the ring corner, and he's on his ass, and he's like, Chris, buddy, please listen to me. I never wanted to steal your group. I swear to God, I wasn't trying to steal your group. It's all fine. I was just, I was doing research because I was trying to build my own. And the lights go out. And they come back up after a couple of seconds. And in the ring behind the Inner Circle is Shawn Spears, Tully Blanchard, Wardlow, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler. The 6 horsemen. Counting on you. And big old beatdown, big old brawl. Sammy gets thrown into a chair in the corner. Fucking Santana and Ortiz are dumped onto the outside by Wardlow. Eventually, they all get Jericho up onto the stage and throw him off into a couple of tables. And that's how we close out Dynamite with this new stable being formed. Notably, with Dax Harwood hugging MJF and saying something to him, and MJF mouthing like, oh, you know it.
Also, Chris Jericho got busted open hard way.
Yeah. and he tried to turn that into a meme. Oh,
But no, I don't think they're going to be going by horsemen. I think it's just more of like we are a horseman like stable.
I think there will probably be a different name, but I do expect them to have a name and branding
Oh yeah,
because
no.
it's very quick. It's very obviously modeled on the Inner Circle and their debut back on the first episode of Dynamite, especially with that attack.
Yes. I honestly what I think it is what Tully's been saying the whole time. It's the revelation,
Hmm.
which
I can see that.
but you know what brings forth the revelation? What harkens it? What's the Silver Surfer to it?
The Horseman.
The Four Horsemen.
Mhm. Now, who do we think is the mastermind in all this? Do we think it is MJF or do we think it's secretly Tolan?
I think what happened is Tully was working with Sean Spears and saw that Sean Spears has potential, but he needed someone else. He needed something around him to help him. And it was going like, okay, let's maybe a tag partner. Let's see if that's it. And that didn't work out. It was like, okay, well, we'll just kind of keep steady, keep trying, and I'm going to find some more people to help, see what we can do. And then he found FTR. And it's like, oh shit, FTR. Yeah, no, this is good. These guys are old school. They're like me. And all the while, MJF has just been in the background. And MJF is just scheming and doing his whole thing. And eventually, at one point in time, MJF goes, I need a stable. And Holy's going like, we need our Ric Flair.
We need a front man.
We need a front man. We need a guy who can get all of the heat so we can work the machinations in the background, who is good enough to still win despite it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine they would both come to each other and go like, I have an idea. And they both realize, oh, it's the same idea. Let's work together, make a new horseman. Let's make a new faction. And all the
Mm-hmm.
while, he still has Wardlow. He's got Wardlow at his side and goes like, yeah, no, we got big fucking muscle now too.
How fucking amazing did Wardlow look during this angle? Like,
Great.
he looked like he was having the time of his life.
And also, MJF, that scariest MJF has looked because the whole 90% of the time MJF is just like goofy face, just like, ah, you want to punch me? But this is like, no, I'm a mob boss. This is serious shit here. It was like
Mm-hmm.
genuine and like it's very serious. It was great, and I think that's kind of that vibe it is. It's like MJF is the leader figure. Like he's the we need to win. We need to do this. We need to be strong and attack. He's that kind of leader. And Tully's going like, all right, guys, you're going up against a fucking Rhodes. This is what you need to fucking do. Fuck a Rhodes. Fuck the Nightmares. Fuck the Dark Order. They're spooky. Don't let them get into your head. They do this shit. Fucking do this, and this, and that's how you beat them.
Mm-hmm.
And so like he's their oracle. He's the guy in the chair, helping them out.
Guy in the chair.
But you know what I'm saying? Like he's the one going like, all right, FTR, you go this way, do this, fight them. It's okay if you lose here, so you don't have to go too hard. That's the plan here. Wardlow, you help Sean there. Sean, you do this. He's guiding everything, but MJF is like, no, we need to attack. We need to do this. He's that young guy.
Mm.
But damn,
Yeah,
it's good.
this angle was so good, man. Like, especially because like you as always you've softened me on a few things, but my experience with this Dynamite was first few segments were great. All the middle stuff was like, I don't know about this. This is okay, and it's whatever. And then this happened, and I was like, that's a fucking great ending. That's a great ending because it took two storylines that I thought were completely separate and was equally into and smashed them together. And it gave me something I had been low key wanting for months, a new horseman like stable in wrestling. And I literally tweeted out after finishing this episode, just caption me looking at Tony Khan after finishing AEW Dynamite, and it's the picture of fucking Jeff Goldblum going, "You did it, you crazy son of a bitch! You did it."
I'm definitely looking forward to whatever happens in this whole thing.
Yeah, it's good.
I've been seeing some speculation that this may lead to blood and guts.
Oh, if we finally get blood and guts to it.
That'd be fun. But that was wrestling this week. Overall, how do you feel about it?
Very mixed week. Week of very well, pretty high highs and very low lows. Some stuff I really liked, some stuff I was kind of on, and obviously one really, really big kind of thing that took a lot of recovering from.
Yeah,
But
and to an
we're
extent, they're
getting
still
along.
recovering. They're still like it's not an immediate fix.
Yeah. Like I went into this week of wrestling thinking it was going to be S tier, and it ended up being like solid B.
Fair enough. I think it's lower A. I think just for the sheer big balls brilliance of being able to patch that botch so fucking quickly.
Mm.
Immediately, all right, we know what we can do. We know how we can fix it. We know exactly how we can say it. Let's fix it. Like
Yeah,
barely any water got in the boat, essentially.
definitely.
But that was wrestling this week, and that was Modular Media Wrestling Podcast. So Vac, V-Man, Mr. Scott, tell the people what?
Just the way you said, Mr. Scott.
Mr. Scott Free, tell the people where they can find you.
Well, I am not scot-free, the DC Comics character. I am the Vacuuminator, and I am one of the two founding members here on Modular Media, as well as Boingo. And I make various content all around the interwebs. Here on Modular Media, you can find me doing the weekly series This Week in Toku, or Twit, with Vac and Buster, where myself and Miriam of Buster Corp do very much the same thing as this show. We discuss the week's worth of news and new episodes from the wonderful world of Japanese live action special effects superhero shows. So if you want to go give that a listen, definitely check it out. It's been a fun time so far. We're about 4 episodes in now. And hey, our latest episode just released, and it features friend of the channel, Database Ranger. And we had a very good time discussing the premiere of the new Super Sentai series. As for my own solo work, I'm currently on hiatus from YouTube, but I do have a fairly extensive backlog of toy reviews and media analysis, and you can find that at youtube.com/thevacuuminator, which is spelled TheVacuuminator. I'm also on Twitter at the Vacuuminator, and I post action figure photography on Instagram every workday at _Vacuuminator. So definitely go check that out.
Dark Side is.
Dark Side is.
Hey, howdy, I'm Chris Boingo Writer Gaston. I do video essay and editorial style stuff on the YouTube. You can find me at Boingo Writer. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Boingo_Writer. And as always, you can join my Discord server. A link to that is in the description. I'm streaming somewhat regularly on Twitch. No real big official in stone schedule. Still kind of working it out, but typically Saturday nights, 12 Eastern, tends to be a good stream day. So come check it out at Boingo Writer. Link to that is in the description. And overall, that was wrestling this week. Any final words you want to say before we leave the people?